Hey there guys, I'm Hello Japan, and welcome to my post Ubisoft press event discussion slash final thoughts video. So Ubisoft had a pretty good showing overall. Some things were better than others. There was a bit of slowdown every once in a while. One section in particular, which we'll get to probably about halfway through the video, I'll make a big note of saying don't do this again, just because it really bothered me. Just because maybe it wasn't my kind of thing, but it was kind of dumb, and it took away from the momentum that they had going into this whole event. But as a whole, it was a pretty good showing from Ubisoft, and I'm really excited to see what their future looks like, and what 2016 will hold for them. So the first game that Ubisoft showed off at their press conference, at first, I was a little confused because it started with South Park: The Stick of Truth. And I was like, oh cool, they're doing a sequel to The Stick of Truth. And as we're going along, it started slowly changing, and I was like, well, I'm noticing sort of little changes along the way, and then eventually they're like, Cartman says, oh, we're in the wrong game! And then out comes their superhero characters, like the Coon was Cartman, Mysterio was Kenny, and I don't remember Stan or Kyle's superhero alter egos, but yeah, they're doing another South Park game, but this time, instead of a fantasy setting, it's a superhero setting, because I guess it's appropriate now that Marvel and DC are pretty much the biggest entertainment blockbusters that we have right now. But the game is titled, and I'm not kidding, it's titled South Park: The Fractured Butthole. So it's a play on the fractured butthole. And when the game was first announced, Aisha Tyler, the one who usually, or has been hosting the show for the past, I think, 4 years, I believe, she invited out on the stage Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they made dumb butthole jokes, and they cursed their mics that they had to wear. I thought it was pretty funny because I like how they're just so unrestrained, and it doesn't matter where they are. They'll come out and say, oh, these mics fucking suck, I hate these mics. Oh, we're going deep in this butthole, and it's funny. I like it. Some people don't like their humor just because it is so raw and unfiltered, but I really do like the whole blatantness of everything in an area where you wouldn't see that raw, uncut humor. At least I like that. So, I mean, I played through the first South Park: The Stick of Truth, or I didn't play through it, I played a little bit of it. Seeing this now really makes me want to go back to it. For those of you who have played The Stick of Truth, are you excited by the idea that Matt Stone and Trey Parker are indeed making another game? It's not like they're standing in the wayside. They are engaged actively in this game like they were with The Stick of Truth. So, will you guys actually go out and pick up The Fractured Butthole? Fantastic name. Because I see myself picking it up. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and have to finish up The Stick of Truth first, but I will actually pick this one up because this is another funny South Park game, and the first one was pretty good. Now after that, they announced a brand new IP called For Honor. Now For Honor seems to be a very similar game to Chivalry. So if you take the idea of Chivalry, a first-person combat game where the goal is to go after the opposing team, try and kill them using ancient weapons, you know, swords, maces, katanas, whatever kind of faction I guess you're playing as. You use that to dismember your opponent and beat them in various kinds of game modes. For Honored is what it's called, is basically, or For Honor is basically Ubisoft's take on that, but instead of first person, it's third person. But it seems to be a far larger scale, and at least the small little demo we saw today had 4v4 along with a bunch of NPC characters, I guess you could say, that were fighting alongside you. So you could go and take on one-on-one one of the other people. Someone else could come flank you and attack you, and then you could have your people come and help you. And it was actually really cool how it was done. And right now, I think it has ways to go still, because there's no actual date for it yet, but they do have a good structure and good base for it. Now, whether or not they're going to build on that or just kind of leave it as the same structure basically, or leave it how it is and then just add on to it. You know, I don't know. I really like to see some more development, more depth put into it. And granted, what we did see was the very first time that the IP was ever shown off, so we didn't see too much, but we saw enough to get a basic idea as to what it was. So, again, picture third-person chivalry, a little bit nicer graphics, and, well, probably quite a bit nicer graphics, and a little bit grander in scale. That's basically what For Honor is. Now, I've never played Chivalry before. I have a basic understanding as to what the game is and how it's played, but whether or not it's my kind of game, that's probably not true. It's probably not my kind of game. But who knows? Maybe it could be something I could check out sometime. But I believe there is going to be a beta sign up either now or relatively soon popping up. So if you are interested in this kind of game, by all means, you know, go sign up for the beta and check it out and see if it's your thing. And then The Crew, of course, one of the larger games that was released last year, a racing game that takes place across the whole entirety of the US, of course scaled down, I believe. They're releasing DLC for it called The Crew Wild Run. Now, I don't know what this means, because I didn't play The Crew, but it looks like it just adds additional nodes, or additional, like, festivals or cities around the country that you can drive to and take part in races in, and all kinds of crazy stuff. Again, not my thing. Not really too big into racing games, but this seems interesting. And those of you who do like The Crew, or have played The Crew, or are interested in racing games, let me know what you think. And briefly, I can mention that they also talked about Trials Fusion Awesome Level Max. That's the name of the Trials Fusion game that's coming out. Never been too big into Trials. I prefer that over like racing games, because it is more. It's almost similar to like a puzzle platformer. Truthfully, it almost is. It basically is a puzzle platformer in its own right, to a certain extent. But I don't know. I've never been too big into Trials, but I guess I could try this one someday, or maybe just pick up an older title in the series and give that a try before I jump in. But yeah, Trials Fusion Awesome Level Max is coming out pretty soon. And after Trials, they spent a while on The Division. Yeah, one of their bigger games that's coming out, and closer than I thought. So we'd seen The Division, I believe Microsoft showed it off. I don't remember who, but I believe it was Microsoft who showed off a little bit of The Division at their press event. And The Division is shaping up to be a really, really big pillar in Ubisoft's lineup of games. Now, the coolest thing that they showed off today, and at least so far at this press conference with The Division, is this new area in New York City, where the game takes place, called the Dark Zone. Now, basically, the story in The Division is there was some kind of biological attack that affected, whether it's the whole state or whole world or whole city, I'm not really too sure, but New York City is contaminated, and the Dark Zone, as it's called, is a very highly contaminated section where you can go in, collect loot, collect rare loot, find other players, join up with them, kill them, find high-leveled NPCs, get help from other players to take those down, or screw them over, and it's basically a big strategy area, which I find very, very cool. And during the demo they played, what they ended up doing is that there was a group of 3 people, who I presume to be 3 friends, because they're all talking to each other. They met, they saw a group of raiders, or I'll just call them raiders for lack of a better word. They found a group of raiders in front of a loot crate, which they wanted to go get. Two other people who were together behind them came up. Then the 5 of them went and took over, took the loot, left for extraction. The 3 people that were originally together, after getting all the loot, killed the other 2 that were helping them. Then one guy betrayed everyone and took all of the loot for himself. Now, if this is the kind of normal gameplay within The Division, granted, it seems to be very specific to this section that's called the Dark Zone. If there is this kind of gameplay in it, I am very, very intrigued. Now, I normally don't like this kind of gameplay, as many of you may know, and I've said multiple times up to this point, but there are certain games that can get me sucked into it, and I would be very, very interested in trying this out. Now, lucky for us, The Division is releasing on March 8th, rather, 2016. So we gotta wait, you got a little while to wait, but it's not too incredibly far away. I mean, it's not holiday 2016, which I guess we'll see if it doesn't get pushed back, because developers really like to do that as of late. So here's hoping it comes out on its release date, and here's hoping it stays as cool as it looks. So I believe it's called Anno 2205. It's a, what I think is like almost like a sim builder strategy kind of game, where the goal is to expand your territory. I'm not too familiar with the series. I know that there's one on Steam, or at least a couple on Steam. But Anno, I think it's Anno 2205 is the newest in the series. Again, I don't know too much about it, but hey, there you go for you what looks like city builder fans and fans of strategy games. Maybe? Here's the newest installment for you. Now, the one part of the whole press conference that dragged it down and made it boring and not fun for anyone, well, for most people I would assume, was the Just Dance section of the whole entire press conference. So, they showed off the new Just Dance. Now, I get it. Just Dance is a giant moneymaker for the company. Just Dance 1 and 2, or whatever they were called, for the Wii, were like one of the Wii's best-selling games, and the best-selling games of the year whenever those games came out. So I get that they have to keep it going, but it's just not fun to watch. And it's not fun either when they have a singer come out and like a singer-dancer, and I don't know who he is, and he's singing, and I'm like, I don't like this at all. It's hurting my ears. This is terrible, terrible music. Which I think he had a song in the top 40 right now, so I can't say it's terrible, but not music I enjoy, and I pretty much just like turned my brain off at that point. So the only thing I wrote for Just Dance is Just Dance 2016. It's coming out in October for I think every single console under the sun. Wii, yes, the Wii, Wii U, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. And yeah, so if you're into the Just Dance games, by all means, my friends, dance your ass off, but I am no dancer. Sorry. Transitioning from Just Dance, a game that is extraordinarily casual, to a game which is extraordinarily hardcore, Rainbow Six Siege. Again, I'm kind of meh about the game. I mean, the more I see it, the more I'm kind of interested in it, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe it's something I want to see. But I don't know, man. I really don't know if I can get behind it. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but something about it just doesn't feel good. Like, you see, like, I don't know what it is. Sometimes you see a game, and it's mainly comes down to personal preference most of the time. You'll see a game, you'll be like, I don't like it. It's just something about it. You can tell it's not for you. You may even buy it, and then you're like, why did I buy this? I could tell I wouldn't like it. And that's kind of how I am with Rainbow Six Siege. And there is a beta coming out on September 24th, 2015 that you can sign up for. And it's for all platforms, PS4, Xbox One, PC. So maybe I'll try and get into the beta and test it out and see if I enjoy it. But it's not really for me, though. I mean, even looking at something like Evolve, which came out just this past year. Or was it last year? I think it was this year. That was whenever. I think it was this year. I got into the beta of that as well, and I couldn't do it, man. I didn't like the game. For whatever reason, it just wasn't good. For me. I mean, and it's a decent game as far as I know, but I just couldn't get into it. I saw it. I said, this isn't the game for me. So I don't think I'm going to give Rainbow Six Siege a try. I mean, maybe it's a game I would like watching in live streams, but I don't think it's a game I would like playing. You know, let me know what you think in the comments, but I don't think it's going to be a game for me. And then another game, which, not really my cup of tea either, is TrackMania Turbo. Sure, I know TrackMania is a fairly popular, successful series, at least with the people who really like it. Again, not my kind of thing, but I do respect the people that like it. It's coming to consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. Now whether or not, like, tracks from the PC can be played on the console versions, I'm not sure. There is a brand new track editor, and there are over 200 tracks for both of these systems, which is pretty impressive. I know it is one of those games that's meant to be very, very ridiculous. Like, it's a very, very over-the-top game. Balls to the walls, constant action. And I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea again. And that's the thing about Ubisoft, I find, is that their games with me personally are very, like, I like it or I don't like it. Assassin's Creed, love it. Rayman, love it. South Park, love it. The Division, think it's going to be pretty cool. And then, like, Just Dance, no. Rainbow Six, not really. Rainbow Six as a whole, nah. I mean, it's very cut or dry. It's cut and dry, like black and white. I like it or I don't like it. It's very, very strange. So TrackMania, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it's like when it comes out, though. Now, speaking of Assassin's Creed, next up they showed a little bit more of Syndicate. Didn't do much more than just show another gameplay trailer, which has me a little concerned because I don't know. I mean, I think they did give it a static release date, but so far during the press conferences, they haven't shown an actual date anywhere, which leads me to believe that the game's actually going to be coming out in 2016. I think they're going to be taking a little bit more time with this, ironing out all the kinks, not rushing it out of the door. I know they like to try and hit that holiday release, but even if they release it in January or February, I'm still going to buy it. The people that buy Assassin's Creed every year, we're going to buy the game again. It's not like because you release the game a couple months late, we're not going to buy it. Spend a little bit of extra time and polish it up, and I'd be very, very happy. So, a little bit more detail about the game, though. It does take place in 1868 London, right during the Industrial Revolution, which is pretty cool. And you play as Jacob Fry, or either or, not entirely sure which, his sister Evie Fry, which I think is pretty cool. You can play as either male or female character, or both at times. During this gameplay teaser thing, they showed off a little bit more of the gang warfare. There was a carriage chase, and I just see how the gang influence is going to be very, very heavy in this game. Each Assassin's game has something which kind of defines them. Either whether it be a tool, this game has its own tool, like a grappling hook kind of thing. Think the long shot from like Zelda, like, and you hit something on the other wall and you pull yourself to it. It's something like that. A tool or a gameplay thing. This gameplay thing is going to be the gang warfare. I mean, I know you could recruit people or recruit assassins before, but it doesn't seem like you're recruiting assassins as much as you're recruiting brutes. Like, you're recruiting people just to be meat for your war, basically. It's kind of a nasty way to explain it, but that's what I'm getting from the game. It's what I'm getting vibes from this game, so I'm a little excited. I get the Assassin's games every year. Like I said, I've been playing through them now, as you guys know. I'm just about to start recording, or continue recording, rather, Assassin's Creed 4. You guys are seeing 3 right now, so once we get to 4, we'll start making it into the modern era, and then once we finish 4, we have 2 more games to go through. Don't think we'll be able to actually finish both of those games up before Syndicate comes out. If Syndicate comes out in like October, November, maybe not. But if it comes out, you know, in 2016, we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to. Maybe we'll be able to. But yeah, that's the two. That's like the big game from the press event that I was most excited for. But there's one more game that they held off till the very end for, and I'm not really too sure what I think about it. It's a little different. And that game is Ghost Recon Wildlands. We don't know much about it. It's first place they've ever announced it. It graphically looks great. At least from what I saw, it looks like they had some clips inside there. Now, whether or not they were fabricated or in-engine, in-game, not really too sure, but it looks like a brutal game, and I'm really excited to see more from it. I've never been big into the Ghost Recon games. I know they're a fairly successful franchise, much along the lines of Rainbow Six or Splinter Cell or anything underneath the Tom Clancy house. Anything that Tom Clancy built is pretty successful at Ubisoft. And I'm really excited to see what this game has to hold, or has to offer. Now, I think this is going to be one of those cases where we won't see this game until 2017. They're just teasing it right now. We'll see more by next E3, and then they'll be like, oh, it's coming out early 2017 or late 2016. But as of right now, they haven't released a release date or anything of note like that. So there we go, guys. That was the Ubisoft press conference. Ubisoft tends to release fewer games, or at least discuss fewer games during their pressers. It was pretty good though. I mean, like I said, everything was fine. I like Aisha Tyler. I think she's pretty funny, except for Rainbow Six, except for Just Dance. Because of Just Dance, it really killed a lot of the mood for me. A lot of the momentum they had going for them. So, that's kind of how I feel about that. But as a whole, it was okay. It was okay. So, let me know what you guys thought of the press conference in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you interested in any of the games I mentioned? Of course, you can click the annotations if you want to hear me discuss a certain game. Bring you right to that point. And I guess if you're watching this, you might have already heard them all, or you're just hearing the end bit. I don't know. So, yeah. That'll wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. We got a few more to go. We got Sony left for tonight. And then tomorrow, which I guess would be today technically, whenever these videos go up, we have Nintendo, we have Square Enix, and then the PC gaming show, which I'm going to be very interested in seeing because I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. Not too sure. It's going to be cool though. It's going to be cool. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. I've been Hello Japan, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!